Shri Gurubhyo Namaha children. Today I am happy to welcome you all for our online teaching academy Ekalaiva. For the class 10 subject biology unit 17 reproduction in plants and animals. Today we are going to discuss about asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is nothing but production of offspring. Offspring is nothing but young ones. Production of offspring by a single parent without the formation and fusion of gametes, that is called asexual reproduction. So, formation without formation and fusion of gametes, that is called asexual reproduction. It involves only mitotic cell division, meiosis is absent. Offspring produced by asexual reproduction is identical to the parents but also exact carbon copy of the parents. The offspring which is formed by the asexual reproduction not only identical to the parents but also exact copies of their parents. Okay? Asexual reproduction occurs by spore formation. This is the most common method of asexual reproduction in fungi and bacteria. You know very well, bacteria is a microorganism. In fungi and bacteria, the most common method of reproduction is asexual method. During spore formation, a structure called sporangium develops from the fungal hyphae. See the diagram here, picture here. The sporangium is developed from the hyphae. Okay. The nucleus divides several times within the sporangium. Within the sporangium, the nucleus divides several times, and each nucleus with small amount of cytoplasm develops into a small spores. See here, spores. The spores are liberated and they develop into a new hyphae after reaching the ground. Okay, once the spores are liberated and they develop into a new individual after reaching the ground. See, the sporangium is developed from the rhizodile hyphae. Each sporangium, the nucleus divides. Each nucleus grows along with cytoplasm to form a spores. When the spores burst and they deposited or placed on the ground, now the spores is on the ground. After that, the spores will germinate into a new individual. The formed individual is identical to that of the parent organism. See here, the spore slowly germinate to form a parent organism. The formed offspring is identical to that of the parent organism. The next we move on to sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is a process in which two gametes, that is male and female gamete, two gametes are fused to produce offspring of their own kind. In cases both sexes, in such cases both sexes, male and female sex organs are needed to produce gametes. Male organ produce male gamete, female organ produce female gamete. we have already studied that flower is a reproductive organ of a plant. The plant has three parts. One is root, stem and leaves. The root, stem and leaves are what? They are not a reproductive organs. Yes? So then what is the reproductive organ of a plant? Flowers. Why it is said to be the reproductive organ of a plant? It contains the reproductive organs, Andrecium and Gynecium. They are involved in reproduction. Hence they are said to be the reproductive organs. Clear? Parts of a typical flower. A flower is a modified shoot with limited growth. You know very well, flowers have the limited growth to carry out sexual reproduction. A flower consists of 4 whorls. Whorls is the thing, but this is the 4 whorls. Born on a thalamus. These 4 whorls are from the outside to the inside. Among this, the first and the foremost outer whorl is said to be calyx. The other name for calyx is sepals. The next one is corolla. Corolla is nothing but petals, the colored part of a flower, that is called petals, corolla. Then the third one is androecium, the male part of the flower. It consists of stamens. Then the fourth inside one is gynecium or pistil. It is a female part of a flower. It consists of carpels, carpels. So, calyx, corolla, andrecium and gynecium, these are the 4 whorls. Okay, these are the 4 whorls. See the picture here, children. This part is said to be calyx, the outer part, outer layer. It is also called as sepals. Sepals are usually green in color. The next whorl is said to be corolla. Corolla is also called as petals. As I said, it is a colored part of a flower. See how dark it is. It is dark red in color, right? It is very attractive, right? Yes. The next one is, this is the third whorl, that is called androecium. Male part of the flower. It consists of stamens. Stamens. See here, stamen. Stamen means the anther and the filament. These two comprises of stamen. The next one is very important part, that is called gynecium. Stigma, style and the ovary. These 3 are said to be pistil. Okay, so these are the parts of a flower. A typical flower consists of 4 main parts. 2 are essential part and 2 are non-essential, right? Andrecium and gynecium are essential part. They took part in reproduction, so it is said to be essential part. Calyx and corolla are accessory organs. They are not directly involved in reproduction. Is it clear, children? Yes. See here, the two outermost whorl, calyx and corolla, are non-essential. Non-essential is also called as what? Accessory organs, accessory whorls, and they do not directly take part in reproduction. Whereas the other two whorls, Andrecium and Gynesium, are known as essential parts, essential organs, essential whorls, because both Andrecium and Gynesium take part directly in reproduction. Can you able to see this picture, children? Yes? What type of picture it is? Yes, exactly, hibiscus. Is it hibiscus is a bisexual flower or monosexual flower, children? Yes, right. Hibiscus is a bisexual flower. Why it is said to be bisexual flower? What is the meaning of bisexual? Think. Yes, male part and female part are present in the same flower. So it is said to be bisexual, male organ and female organ. Andrecium and Gynecium are present in the same flower, then it is said to be bisexual flower. Can you able to tell the parts of the flower, children? What is this part? What is this part? Yes, it is said to be petals. Petals is also called as corolla. What is this, children? Yes, Andrecium. That nothing but Andrecium. What is this part, children? This is Gynecium. Is it right? Is it? What is this, children? Stigma. The stigma is absent here. That stigma. So these are the parts of a flower. Here stigma is cut. So there is no stigma. This part is joining here. So Andrecium, all this said to be Andrecium, filament and the anther. So is the Gynecium, stigma, style, and this part is called ovary. Clear, children? Now we are going to see the male part of the flower, Andrecium. Andrecium, that male part of the flower, composed of, as I said, stamens. Each stamen consists of a stall called filament and a small bag like structure called anther at the tip. See here, a bag, small bag like structure called anther, and this is called filament. See here, anther, and this is called filament. So these two are said to be stamen. The pollen grains are produced in the anther within the pollen sac. So all the pollen grains are produced or present inside the pollen sac. Okay. See, pollen grains. Pollen grains are usually spherical in shape. It has two layered. The hard layer is called exine. Exine is a hard outer layer. The outer layer of pollen is very hard. It is named as exine. The shape of the pollen grain is usually spherical in shape. It has two layers. The outer layer is said to be exine and the inner layer is said to be intine. The outer layer is very hard, the inner layer is very soft. Okay. So it has prominent aperture called germ pore is present. The inner thin layer is known as intine. It is a thin and continuous layer made up of cellulose and pectin. A mature pollen grains consist of two types of cells. One is vegetative cell and another one is generative cells. Can you get my point? The pollen grains contains two types of cells. One is called vegetative cells and another one is called generative cells. The generative cells give rise to produce two male gametes. Okay. So the vegetative cells contains a large nucleus. The generative cells divides mitotically to form two male gametes. So the vegetative cells produce the pollen tube. The pollen tube formation is mainly due by the vegetative cells and the generative cells produce two male gametes. Is it clear, children? The pollen grains consist of two different types of cell. One is vegetative cell, another one is generative cell. Vegetative cell give rise to pollen tube and generative cell produce two male gametes. It is very essential. This cell divides into two to formation of two male gametes. The next one is Gynecium, the female part of the flower, and it is made up of carpels. It has three parts. One is ovary, style and stigma. See the female part of the flower. This is called Gynecium. It consists of three parts. The topmost tip, that is called stigma. This is called style and this part is called ovary. So ovary, style and stigma, these are the three parts of the female part of the flower, Gynecium. The ovary contains ovules. Ovary contains ovules. Structure of ovule. The main part of the ovule is the nucellus. This entire part is called nucellus. Children, please listen very carefully. The entire part is said to be, the main part of the ovule is said to be nucellus, which is enclosed by, the nucellus is enclosed by two integuments. Integuments is nothing but covering, leaving an opening called micropyle. So the whole nucellus is covered by a covering called integuments, leaving a small opening called micropyle. Clear? The ovule is attached to the ovary by funicles. The the ovule, the full ovule is attached to the ovary with the help of the part called funicles. Chalasa is the basal part. This basal part is called chalasal part. The basal part of the ovule is chalasa. The embryo sac contains 7 cells. How many cells? 7 cells, and the 8th nuclei located within the nucellus. 3 cells are there. 3 cells at micropylar end form the egg apparatus. See here, think that it is the nucellus. Inside the nucellus, this is called the embryo sac, and this embryo sac contains these 3 cells in micropylar end and the 3 cells at chalasal end, and in between that it has totally 8 cells. Okay, so 3 cells at the micropylar end form the egg apparatus. This is the egg apparatus, and 3 cells at chalasal end. This end is called chalasal end. The remaining 2 nuclei are called polar nuclei. This is called polar nuclei. The egg apparatus, one is the egg cell and remaining 2 are the synergids. So here 3 cells is there, one is the egg apparatus and remaining 2 are the synergids. Thank you children, we will see tomorrow.